Hello and welcome to another Ohio Train 705 Railfanning video. In the middle of July, me and a couple of friends went out to Central Ohio to see some trains. We hit some spots along the way, but the base camp for today would be Marion, Ohio. Named one of the big four railroading locations in Ohio, it has been one of only a couple places to have a double diamond. While the action does not compare with Berea or even Fostoria, Marion is still an excellent place to sit down and watch a few trains. On the drive down to Marion, we would notice two trains stopped a little south of Attica Junction, presumably waiting on CSX. One of the trains would be a combined grain and ethanol train, and the other would be Manifest 18M, with a WFRX Max second. Basically, the second we stepped out of the car, a load of coal train C601 came steamrolling northbound on the old C&O. This line is the least busiest of the three that pass through town. Some nice old YN2 paint would be in charge of the train today. After getting the crew change just down the road, CSX I-132 gets the okay to turn the Y to head north on the C&O. A rare CSX leader is on the point of the train today. This is very uncommon as I-132 and I-131 come from the Union Pacific Railway in Illinois and usually only carry Union Pacific and Canadian National Power. Our first Norfolk Southern train to Marion would be a good one, as with NS 117 with an all EMD lash-up, an ace leading and another one of those WFRX Max trailing. NS has at least 30 of these due to power shortages, and since they are not equipped with PTC, they cannot lead. After 117 cleared Harvey, NS 170 got the okay to follow, where it would then make its turn onto the once bustling Fort Wayne line in Bucyrus. 170 sported a Dash 9 liter and a Union Pacific Chivo for power today. The NS parade continued as Norfolk Southern 277 came around the bend heading northbound on the NS Sandusky District. Another Union Pacific GEVO would be second as on today's train. Towards the end of 277, L38 would make its way back to the small yard in Marion after switching some industries south of town. Next to show was a late CSX M204 going to work the yard in Marion and then set off its DP locomotive, which was having issues. All in all, this took a total of 5 hours, where M204 blocked both the diamonds, limiting the train activity for the majority of the day. Coming in hot on the Mount Victory subdivision was CSX Hotshot Intermodal I-008 with 2 GEVOs and a do not hump boxcar. Even though this train is considered to be a priority, for the past month it has not been carrying any trailers. Next, in came CSX M363, using the only track available in Marion. It had its usual GEVO up front and one in the middle, with some nice 80-foot boxcars mixed throughout the train. Now notice those 2 people sitting by the signal. That was L38's crew trying to return back to their train from a lunch break. They ended up having to sit there for over 4 hours, waiting for M204 to clear the diamonds. The next CSX train to run was CSX M332, with the bad order hopper resting on a flat car. Once upon a time, in the old pre-PSR days, M332 would be 3 separate trains. One would be manifest, the other would be Autorax, and the last would be intermodal. After M204 finally moved east, NS and CSX would open the floodgates. While waiting for an I-131 to turn onto the Mount Victory subdivision, NS 116 rolls south on the NS Sandusky district, making its way towards Columbus with the Dash 9 leader. Now, after waiting for 4 hours with a fresh crew, CSX I-131 finally got permission to turn west on the CSX Mount Victory sub. A UP Gevo leads, and then a nice-looking UP C44-9W in the trailing spot. Moving back to Union Station, we would catch NS 40J rolling south towards Columbus. This 40J got loaded at Legacy in Fostoria and was making its long journey to Forsyth, Georgia. Just like all the other NS trains today, 40J got held up for a while in between Bellevue and Marion. While checking out the museum they have in Marion, CSX L358 surprised us, heading south on the CSX Columbus sub. From what I've heard, this train only runs as needed on this line, as it works some industry south of town. A rare sight on the front of the train today, an old Conrail quality painted caboose. You don't see these too often anymore. As we end our day in Marion, we would still parallel the NS Sandusky district on our drive north. On the outskirts of town, we would see NS Priority Intermodal 28N pulling up next to a stopped 18M. Turns out that the 28N was picking up the crew on 18M that outlawed here in Marion and was giving them a ride to Columbus. After coming to a brief stop, NS-20 then started up again with a total of 4 crew members inside. As any other train on the NS Sandusky District today, 20NN was very late and needed to make up some valuable time. Just as NS-20 then cleared the block, NS-18W got a high green to head south. Doing the honors was a clean NS-AC-44C6M and another one of those WFRX SD70 Max, doing all of track speed through town. Just a little south at Limhipshire Road, another NS southbound rolled on by. This was an empty coke train, 427, with an all-EMB duo with some high-horsepowered SD70 Aces doing the work. And our final stop of this trip would be NSL27, returning back to the yard after picking up some truck parts at Auto Kinnetone, a couple miles south. These cars get put onto the 14 and 15Q that go to Illinois. And the last train of the trip would be southbound domestic intermodal 271, rolling south to the ports of Norfolk.